Yesterday's lesson was a tragedy where we got to witness a horrible battlefield going on, and now we're going to cover the subtraction. So, the reason why subtraction is just after the addition is because it's actually fairly simple, but you'll just have to add one more step when you do find a subtraction, okay? So, let's add this. So we're gonna keep in mind that everything that we've written so far is about adding integers. So we're gonna start this section off by just saying when subtracting integers, we are going to try to stick with what we already know. So let's do that. I'll do another one right here. Boop, boop. Okay, so when it's subtracting integers, you are going to actually change two things. Now, you have to remember, though, you have to change both of these things. So the first one that you're going to change is the subtract into add. Okay, so the minus is going to be a plus, but that only works if you change the next integer into its opposite. Yeah, find some space there, opposite. All right, so let me do an example here. Let's do EX. So let's say I have, let's do the 5. Now I'm going to do 5 minus -3. So to keep it short and simple, what I do is I have to change this. And when I do changes, now we're going to try to like kind of write downwards, but make sure that we are including like or doing this step by step. This allows me or anyone else who's looking at your work to understand what are you doing here, right? So the first step is I'm going to change the subtract into add. So boom, right there. But then I have to change the second one into a positive, right? Because it's a negative, so it's going to be the opposite symbol, which is 3. Now, can you answer 5 plus 3? Yes, it is pretty much 8. That's your answer there. And also, by the way, when we write downwards, we could add the equal symbols right there. Now, let me show you another example here. Let's say that we have -13 minus 12. So for the sake of consistency and just to keep the habit, I'm going to write -13 first. I'm not going to change that. Don't change that first number, right? Look at the rules. It says change the subtract into add. Okay, so the subtract becomes add, but then I still have to change the other symbol into its opposite, -12, right? So because it's minus a positive 12, so now it's going to be minus a -12. Now I'm going to add parentheses too, just to also keep that negative number. You see now I'm back to the addition, right? And now I know, oh, guess what? If I have a -13 soldiers on, 13 soldiers on the negative team, I have 12 on the negative team. So now I'm going to get an answer of -25 because there I can now use the addition rules and that's going to be my response. One more example that I'm going to throw out here, and you could give this a shot, is, so you could pause it and then try to see if you could answer it. But let's say I have -57 plus 23 minus 30. Okay, so if you like to pause it now, you could try to answer this, and then you could play it once you're ready. So then I start first with the first two. And so I'm going to have -57 plus 23. I look at the bigger number. It's going to be 57 minus 23 because they're opposing teams. They're fighting each other right now. So the negative team is bigger. So that negative team is going to win. And then 57 minus 23 is going to be 34. Now I have the 34 down. And then I'm going to re-add that minus 30. So then I'm going to put minus 30. Now, I'm going to change that based on my rule, right? Like minus 34. And then I have to change it to positive. But then the positive 30, right? Because it's a minus a positive 30. So now it's going to be plus a negative 30. And I'm going to put a parentheses right there as well. This time, I know that it's two of the negative teams. They're adding up. So then it's going to be negative, because negative team, 64. And that is going to be ultimately my answer there. All right. So if you are doing it in, like if there's a multi-number question, please make sure that you just do it step by step. Go from left to right. Don't try to jump around there. Okay. So do as many of these negatives and positives from left to right. But this is pretty much what you need to know for subtracting integers.